morning, guys. How are we doing today? Great. Good. Let me start us off with a prayer today. Dear Lord, thank you for all of us gathering here today. Thank you for another great day you've blessed us with. I pray that we can walk away today with a closer relationship with you and a stronger will to serve you better. I thank you, I love you, and I put my trust in you. I pray this all in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. All right, so when I was growing up, there was always a rule in my family for every kid to play a sport. And when I was 11, my dad asked me, what sport do you want to play this year? And I tried a bunch of different sports before then. I tried soccer and basketball and football, but never really found one that I really liked very much. And my dad brought up the idea of baseball, and I was like, all right, sure, let me get into baseball. So I didn't really know anything about it. I had no experience in it, and never really watched games or knew any players or anything about it. So I walked into my first practice and didn't know any of the terms they were saying, didn't know any of the positions they were telling me to go to, didn't understand any of the pitches they were talking about. So I was just like so confused, and everyone seemed to know what they were doing, and I was just like, what am I doing here? So by the time the first game came around, I was nervous. I was like going up to bat, shaking, my knees were shaking, I'm holding the bat just shaking. And I get up there, and the pitcher throws a nice, like, slow softball, just like coming in, goes up and goes down. And I see it, and I just swing at it. I hear it hit the ball. Don't even look where the ball goes. I am just sprinting to first base. I'm just making sure I get on base. I'm making sure I get a hit, and I'll be good. So I get to first base, and I'm just so proud of myself. My coach is hyping me up, It's my first hit of the game. I'm confident. Then at my next at-bat, same thing. This pitcher throws a nice slow ball, comes in, I'm ready, I'm swinging at it. Hit it, don't even know where it goes, just running. My coach tells me to go to second. I get there, I go to second. I'm like, dang, dude, it's my first game and I'm already getting 2 hits. I'm ready, I'm good. So each game after that, I was going up to bat more confidently each time, getting hits, getting on base, feeling good, feeling like I found a sport that I was natural in and feeling like this is my sport, I'm ready. So by the time next season comes around, my dad's like, what sport do you want to play? And I'm like, let me get back into baseball. We get a whole bunch of new gear. I get a new bat, I get a new mitt, get some new batting gloves, I'm ready, get some new cleats. All my things are shiny. I'm coming up, I'm looking good. So I get to my game, and I go up to bat, and the pitcher throws a nice slow ball, and I'm ready. I'm swinging it. I'm confident. All I hear is umpires call out strike one. I'm like, all right, it's okay. You saw the first pitch. It's okay. It's only the first one. You still got 2 more attempts. So I'm up there. I'm still confident. And swing again, nothing. Here's strike 2. At the 3rd pitch, I'm like, all right, you got to hit this now. Like, you just missed twice in a row. These are slow pitches. You got this, dude. Like, you're used to this. You got it. So I'm ready. I'm waiting for the pitch. I'm looking at it. I swing at it. Strike 3. I go back to the dugout. I am embarrassed. I'm walking down, I'm like embarrassed. I don't want anyone to look at me. I'm just like, I just did terrible. And prior to that, I was like, I'm good. Like, I don't need practice. I think I'm good. Like, I think I'm better than these kids. I think I'm straight up just like a natural baseball. I'm going to be the next Babe Ruth out here. So after that, I was like, dang, like, I may not be as good as I think I am. But I just go in the next game. I'm confident. I'm ready. Another strikeout happens. Next at bat, another strikeout happens. Next at bat, another strikeout happens. And by the end of the season, we didn't win a single game. I maybe got like 3 hits out of like, I don't even know how many at-bats. But I was just feeling like terrible. I was feeling so bad about what I did. I thought I should have been working so much harder. And my dad was driving me home, and I was like, I hope I didn't disappoint you. And my dad's like, no, you did exactly what I asked you to do. You played a sport. You did exactly what I asked you to do, and I'm proud of you. I love you no matter what. And I feel like a lot of us probably feel the same way about God. A lot of us feel like because of the things we've done in our past, we're disappointing God, and he's going to love us less because of that. But that's not the truth. By what Jesus did on the cross, he saved us from our sin and also called us to be free of that disappointment. and that shame and that guilt that we hold on to. So when I was saying I feel disappointed, my dad reassured me, you're not a disappointment. You did exactly what I asked you to do, and I still love you. I'm going to love you no matter what. And that just reminds me that we can't be disappointed. We can't sit with our shame. We can't sit with our guilt, because God called us to be free from that. That's not what we are, and that's not how we should feel, because the sacrifice Jesus made for us calls us to be free of that feelings and feel free of that disappointment and that shame and the guilt that we feel. There's a story I want to share from the Bible. It's in Mark chapter 7, verse 40, and it's about a man who has leprosy. And he's on his knees begging for Jesus to heal him. And in this time, people with leprosy were treated very poorly. They were treated as extremely unclean, extremely dirty, sick. If you get around them, you're going to get sick. So they were excluded from their community, just so far away from their friends, their family, everyone they knew. They were excluded from them. And they had to yell unclean if anyone became in any close distance with them, so that they would know that that person has leprosy. And if they didn't say that, then the person could literally throw rocks at them for not telling them that they were unclean. So these people were just treated so poorly. And he's on his knees begging for Jesus' help, just saying, please heal me, please heal me. And the next verse says, filled with compassion, the Lord said, I am willing, and reached out his hand and said, be healed. What that means to me is the Lord sees your efforts, and he's compassionate. He's not going to treat you better according to what you've done or treat you less according to what you've done. The Lord saw him on his knees begging for help, and the Lord was moved with compassion and said, I am willing to heal you. It's not like he had to do good in order for him to heal him. He was in a pain and the suffering, and Jesus knew that he was. And by him saying, I know that the only way for me to be healed is by begging for your help and for you to touch out and heal me, then Jesus was moved with compassion and saying, I am going to heal you. And another thing about this is, since this man with leprosy had no contact with anyone, didn't talk to anyone for years, was excluded from his community, Jesus went out and touched him. He was supposed to be unclean and supposed to be excluded from his group for having leprosy and being sick and being dirty. But Jesus reached out his hand and touched him. He had no fear of being sick or getting close to too much of a dirty man or anything. He went out and said, I'm going to heal you. This is not how you feel. And that just proves to me that he's willing to heal you no matter what. We've all been through hard times, all have felt shame and guilt. I know for my life, I've definitely felt it so many times. There's been times where I know I should have went to God, and I went to something else. I went to a comfort, I went to a sin, or I went to something instead of going to God. I went for that temporary satisfaction instead of looking for a permanent satisfaction in God. And over time, those feelings just built up of disappointment, built up of shame, built up of guilt. I just felt more guilty and more shame each time I did that, each time I went to that comfort. But I didn't know what else to do, because that was just something that I made a habit of. And I was just comfortable doing that and comfortable repeating that. And it wasn't until I found another verse that I really figured out what Jesus is. My favorite verse is Psalm 63:7, and it says, because you are my helper, I will rejoice in the shadow of your wings. And what that means to me is, to be under someone's wing, you have to be close to them. You have to be so close to them that they're hovering their wing over you. And that made me feel like I'm going to sin. I'm going to comfort when I need healing. But by going to God, he can hover his wing over me, and I could be healed, and I could feel in his presence. And by reading my Bible, by praying, by growing a relationship with him, I can get rid of those feelings. I can be free from that. I cannot sit in this shame and this guilt and this disappointed feeling any longer, because I can overcome them by growing a relationship with him, by being close to him, by being underneath his wing. And by doing that, I was able to overcome that. By just even reading my Bible just a little bit a day, or just trying to make that effort to go closer to God, to go closer to what God calls me to do. All those things are just going to grow me closer and show that these feelings are not permanent. These feelings of guilt and shame are not permanent. You can overcome them, and God is there to heal you from that. He's here to tell you that even though you've done wrong, I'm not going to love you any less. I'm not going to treat you any better according to you not doing this or you doing this. You get treated less. No, you all get treated the same. We all are loved by God because he is loving. We do not deserve it, but he loves us no matter what. He calls us away from those feelings. When Jesus died on the cross, we were called free of that. And by going closer to God and really understanding the sacrifices and the love and the generousness of God, we can see that our shame can be set free. Our guilt can be set free. And I learned that from this verse. So I want to challenge all of us this week to go close enough to God that you're under his wing. Make those efforts to grow closer to God. Be under his wing. Feel his presence with you. Be around him so that you can be healed from those feelings. Be healed from that shame. Be healed from that guilt. Be healed from those disappointing feelings that you're feeling. By growing closer to him, you can get rid of that. And I challenge all of us to do that. When Jesus reaches out to his hand to that man with leprosy, he's reaching for all of us in the same way. When we're in pain, when we're suffering, when we feel those feelings, Jesus is reaching out to us. And all we have to do is just grab that hand. Don't be afraid to go to him. And I know that you might be comfortable going into that sin or going into that comfort or going into whatever you may feel comfort from over those feelings, but instead go to God. Go to him, and you'll be healed from that. And I challenge all of us to just reach out and grab that hand. I challenge all of us to go under that wing. Grow close to him. Make those habits. Read the Bible. Make your prayers. And you'll go closer to him, and you'll see those feelings just disappear. You'll see yourself becoming a better person, becoming closer to what God is calling you to do. And you're getting away from the feelings that are holding you back. I call us to all get rid of that and just challenge all of you guys to do that this week. Let me end us off with a prayer. Lord, I thank you for all your generous love and all the compassion you have for us. Lord, I pray that we can all walk away this week and make a habit to pray. Make a habit to read our Bible. Make a habit to grow closer to you. I pray that you can remind us that your healing is going to heal us more than any other comfort, any other sin. When we are weak, when we are weary, we can go to you and be healed from our pain. I thank you, I love you, and I put my trust in you. And I pray this all in Jesus Christ's wonderful and mighty name. Amen.